One of our biggest complaints with this generation of BMW X3 was the underwhelming performance of the petrol power plant. 190 horsepower in a 70 lakh plus rupee car just doesn't feel special enough. But BMW has addressed that with this, the X330 xDrive. It gets a big bump in power and torque, and it gets a few important updates all around. In this video, we will drive it to tell you how all those updates add up. Let's start with the biggest change, and that is under the bonnet. It still has a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. BMW enthusiasts will tell you it's the B48. This high output version has 258 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque, which coincidentally is exactly the same as its biggest competitor, the Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. Now this engine still has the 48-volt mild hybrid system, which adds a bit of performance low down when you're trying to make an overtake at low speeds, and it can also give a boost of performance if you use the boost mode. The engine is mated to an 8-speed torque converter automatic which sends power to all 4 wheels using BMW's xDrive system. Exterior changes to the new 30 trim are subtle, making it hard to tell apart from the lesser 20 variant. All India spec X3s come with the M Sport pack with sportier bumpers and side skirts, but the 30 upgrades to the M Sport Professional pack, which brings a gloss black surround for the illuminated grille and a darker finish inside the adaptive LED headlights. In profile, you'll spot red brake calipers behind the larger 20-inch wheels. More importantly, the tires are wider to help put that additional power down. 255 section up front and 285s at the rear. Finishing things off is a 30 badge on the electrically operated tailgate that hides a 570-liter boot. Overall, the X3's design looks sharp and isn't quite as polarizing as some of BMW's recent efforts. With its clean lines and flat surfaces, it has an almost monolithic aesthetic, especially in this new Brooklyn grey paint shade. The interior also gets a few M Sport Pro touches like an illuminated door sill plate and M stitching on the seat belts, but the big change is on the dashboard. Inside, you'll notice that the dash and the door cards are now covered in a leatherette material. In our earlier review, we noted that the synthetic material that was on the dash earlier would be difficult to keep clean and didn't quite look premium enough. And apparently customers also felt the same way. However, our other complaint of some of the plastics not being up to scratch or rather being a little too scratchy is still a problem. The rest of the interior and even the feature list remains unchanged. So you still get the curved display with a 12.3-inch instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch infotainment screen. It is sharp, clear and very responsive, but many functions are baked into the touchscreen, including most of the HVAC controls, which isn't ideal. The UI can also feel a bit confusing, but using a mix of the touchscreen, iDrive controller and the physical buttons, it's something you could get used to. The rest of the layout is pretty much the same as before. Very minimalistic, very few buttons, lots of ambient lighting. It looks very nice at night. The front seats are very comfortable, very supportive with a nice thigh support extension right here. And these side bolsters can also be brought in to hold you better in the corners. The back seat is a pretty decent place to spend time. The front seat is now set to my driving position, and as you can see, I have plenty of knee room, plenty of headroom. I am 5'8" for reference. The seat is quite comfortable, well cushioned, good thigh support, but the backrest is a little too upright and you still can't recline it, which is a negative point. The sun blinds are present, which is always useful, but if you want to sit 3 abreast, the biggest challenge is going to be this central tunnel, which is quite tall and hard to get across. Overall, the backseat experience is good, not great, because again, it doesn't feel quite plush because you are facing a lot of hard, scratchy plastic right here. Overall, I would say it is much better as a driver's car. So let's get to the driving. Let's start by talking about the powertrain. The 2-liter 4-cylinder engine now makes 258 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. That is 68 horsepower and 90 Newton meters more than the 20 variant. So naturally, the 0 to 100 time has improved significantly, and so has the in-gear acceleration. In our test, the 30 variant was substantially quicker to 100 kph, managing the sprint in 6.11 seconds. It was also noticeably quicker than the 20 variant from 20 to 80 and 40 to 100 kph. The 48-volt mild hybrid system also works really well with this engine, provides a good shove of torque low down, helps you make up those gaps in traffic, works really well with this engine, but it also did a good job with the 20, to be fair. How the 30 differs is when you push the engine really hard, it has a lot more to give. Much more mid-range performance, very good top-end performance. It feels like it has a lot of power in reserve. Switch it into sport mode and the responses get a lot sharper. The engine really wakes up, and if you tug on the left paddle for a bit, you get 10 seconds of boost. Putting it into sport mode also amps up the engine note, which is played through the speakers. It's not the nicest sounding 4-cylinder out there, but it does enhance the experience somewhat. The engine is refined for the most part, it is very smooth, but if you rev it really high, then there is some coarseness, some harshness that comes through, but that's only really high in the rev range, so it's not really a problem. The 8-speed automatic is also very good in operation, very smooth, slick, almost seamless shifts. And if you want to make quick progress, it's quick to kick down a couple of gears, or you could use the paddle shifters, which are also very responsive. It has a good spread of ratios, so it does keep the engine on the boil for the most part. In terms of dynamics, the X3 was already a very good car, but the 30 improves on that a little bit further because of the tires. They are much fatter than before. 255 section in the front, 285s at the rear, lower profile as well. They sit on 20-inch rims. Maybe they seem like they're overkill for a car of this sort, and they must be very expensive to replace, but you can't deny the fact that they do grip really, really well. Turn into the corner and there is good bite from the front end, and as you get on the gas, there's really, really good traction from the rear tires. One downside of the lower profile tires is more harshness from the road surface does come through. Hit a bump and you feel that initial sharp jolt quite prominently in this car. The ride is quite stiff in sport mode, but if you shift it back to regular mode or the personal mode, the ride actually improves a fair bit. It does a good job of soaking up most of the bumps. As you pick up speeds, it gets even better. High speed stability is excellent, and that's the advantage of having dynamic dampers. It lets you choose how you want your suspension setup, which really works in our conditions. The comfort setting with its more pliant ride is what I would stick to for most situations. But when the mood strikes you, you switch it into sport mode and you feel the whole car firm up. The suspension gets a little firmer, the steering gets a little heavier, feels nice and direct. It's not as heavy as I would have liked. Maybe a little bit more weight would have been nice, but that's just personal preference. As it is, it's very sharp, very direct, very easy to place the car exactly where you want. Overall, the X3 was already a very good car to drive, and this one just makes it even better. While the pricing for the X3 30 xDrive is yet to be announced, we expect it to sit at the top of the range, above the 20, which costs Rs 71.20 lakh, and the 20D, which is priced at 73.10 lakh. The X330 does not replace the 20 variant, which will continue as the entry-level model. But if BMW gets the pricing right, I would skip that completely and head straight for the 30. It does have the performance that you would expect from a luxury SUV. It is well equipped and a much better rounded package. I think a rematch against the GLC 300 is in order.